I was just chilling in bed, and then I start hearing how something is beginning to crawl on the floor, on the plastic floor from the common area. It wasn't steps, it was like, and I stay like, it's 2 a.m. It's 3 a.m. Who would be moving boxes or something? I don't know. Would it be? And then I hear it more. And then against my door, like my principal door. And I just stayed like, okay, someone put the box against my door. Or whatever it was now against my door. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks so much for clicking, for staying around. I really appreciate it. And if you haven't, please subscribe, like, and comment if you like the video and you want to see more. And with that, we start. On this video, I wanted us to talk about living alone stories, how that was for me, and also I guess it comes with living alone in a complete different country and how all that transition was for me. So let's start with that. I came here in 2019, well, to study, as some of you already know, in Paris. Before that, I had never lived outside of my family home in Monterrey, Mexico. So it was quite a change, but it wasn't fully living alone. So let me explain. I was first, for the first 2 years of my master degree, I was in Cité Université, basically apartments for students or PhD graduates or artists. There were a lot of opera singers, for example, and that was so cool. Like, you could just be walking around in these huge gardens, and then you will hear the opera singers practicing from the House of United States or the House of Germany or stuff like that. And I was just like, wow. Even though it happened during COVID times. One day before arriving here to Paris, they told me like, you will arrive to House of Italy, not House of Mexico. I was like, cool! And I had my own bathroom and a balcony. It was great. I loved it. You share a kitchen, that couldn't be helped. But it was okay. It was learning to share a kitchen with strangers and all that comes with that. Like, sometimes you wouldn't like someone like not cleaning stuff, or I would buy my own plates and everything because I didn't want to share the common ones. And I will just clean it in my room and keep them there. And then whenever I have to cook, I'll bring everything. And then COVID happened. COVID happened, and most of European students could go back home because obviously you remember there were lockdowns. So everybody went home, and then I was alone. House of Italy, I was like maybe 1-2 students per floor. Suddenly I was completely alone on my floor, which was the last one because it had the balconies, and it was so weird. It was scary. In a way, it was also interesting. Okay, to be fair, it didn't feel completely like living alone because sure, you have your own room and you don't have your parents anymore, but everyone is a student, everyone is in the same situation, everyone is young, and there's an administration downstairs of the buildings, a guardian, and then you share a kitchen. So it always felt not fully living alone. Like it's like a school type of situation, dormitory type of situation. I had to learn to live like that, and I loved the experience. It was a great experience. The only things, maybe it was like, oh, maybe the neighbor is smoking a lot, the air comes to your room and you'll be like, no, please. But then again, on COVID, they left. I was completely alone, and you know these buildings and corridors where you are walking by, and then to save energy, so the light will turn on with the movement, like the sensors. So as soon as you are not there, the light goes off. So imagine this corridor, and you are passing by. The laundry was on the basements, It was so creepy. So I had to take all my clothes to the basement, and then you will see the corridor, how it will open the light, you pass, and then poof, goes down, boom, goes down. So you turn back and it's completely darkness. It was so eerie, but I loved it. I really, really loved it, and I repent not taking more videos of those moments, because it was really, really interesting and fun. We could go outside during lockdown only on Cité, which was, to be fair, much better than other people who were on the regular city buildings, who you couldn't go out unless you had an attestation, which was a document that you could prove the authorities that you needed to go to the supermarket, or you needed to go to the boulangerie, because yes, boulangeries were open during lockdown time because they were categorized as necessary, as the same as pharmacies. It was crazy, but I loved it. So you would see the queues, like huge queues on every boulangerie, and they couldn't go out that easily, but in Cité, everyone who was living in Cité, you could go around it, and it's a huge place. So every time I felt like too confined in my room, I could always go out and exercise and just walk around and be on the nature. And because there wasn't people, it was like a ghost town, having a place of your own to just walk by, and it wasn't that bad to me. It wasn't that bad. Cut to the time where I no longer have to be living in Cité because I'm no longer a student, so they kick you out. So now that you've graduated, you have to find your grown-up apartment. My friends, their roommate just left, so there was an open room, and I was like, guys, I want it. And these are my best friends here, so they are amazing. It was great. My first experience with roommates, it was great. Like, honestly, like, I have heard so many horror stories, but for me, it was all smoothly, because they are your best friends, and we all had the same vibe, the same energy. Every party was in our apartment because it was quite big, and we could have like movie nights and just a huge living room and a huge table for dinners. Amazing. It was amazing. But in here, I started learning a little bit more of grown-up things, because then you don't have an administration that takes care of things. So now if there's a problem, you will have to call the landlord, or you will have to actually call the telephone, the internet, hire all those things. And it was scary because, again, everything is in French. And back then, I wasn't that fluent in French. But for my roommates, I was the best one, so I had to be the one responsible to talk to them, explain everything that's happening if there's a situation. Yeah, that was interesting, but it again helped me so much to just fully learn the language, really, because at the beginning it was hard to absorb it and actually talk about it, even though Spanish and French are very similar, and I could get by reading instructions and a little bit of understanding. Now it was the time where I had to actually demonstrate that I could speak French and, just do more. It was still very chill because our landlord lives in the same building, and every time there was a problem, we'll just call him and he'll be like, okay, I'm going. He's honestly really, really nice. It came to the point where I had to move to my own apartment. No more roommate, full grown-up life. And that's when my weird stories started happening. One of them being like, okay, I'm here all alone. I'm not kidding you guys. The shared common space of the building looks like a horror movie. Not my apartment. The apartments are good. It's just the common areas that they need a lot of remodelation because they have a lot of details that are from back then. Anyway, I arrived to this apartment and the common area floor is carpet. So you can imagine how dirty that carpet is. How dirty. It's ugly, it's brown, it's on top of it they put like plastic because they have been moving around tubes and radiators, because again they are doing a whole change to the system of the building. And the light is so creepy too. There was this time where it was around 2 a.m., 3 a.m. I sleep very late. I was like, okay, time to sleep. I'm ready. I was being cozy in my bed, ready to sleep. And one thing I'm gonna say is that inside the apartments, you can't hear the neighbors. But when you're in the common area, you can hear everything. So I was just chilling in bed, and then I start hearing how something is beginning to crawl on the floor, on the plastic floor from the common area. Yes, weird. I can't explain it, but it really, maybe not crawl. At the beginning, my first thought was like, there's someone pushing a box or pushing something through the plastic, because you can hear it. It wasn't steps, it was like, and I stay like, it's 2 a.m. It's 3 a.m. Who would be moving boxes or something? I don't know. And then there was no other noise, and I didn't hear the wing of the elevator either. And I was starting to get like, oh, scary. What is this? What could it be? And then I hear it more. And then against my door, like my principal door. And I just stayed like, okay, someone put the box against my door, or whatever it was now against my door. And this is where a lot of my friends say, oh, Debbie, you will be the first one to die in a horror movie. I was quite shocked when I heard that, because I believe I'm a final girl, but no, who am I kidding? Yes, I probably will be the first one to die in a horror movie, because my thought was, I need to check what it is, right? Like, I can't just leave thinking there's something against my door at 3 a.m. in the morning. I need to check. I got up and I started like, without doing any sound. And then I hear this breathing, like someone was breathing heavily against my door. Like they were snoring against my door. And that's when I said, oh, it's not a box. It's someone who is leaning in the floor in front of my apartment, and they are asleep. Now, at this point, I was like thinking, maybe a homeless entered the building. Yes, we have guards, but I don't know. Like, that was my first thought. Or maybe one of the neighbors got into a fight, and she got kicked out, and now they have to sleep on the common area. But I didn't hear any fight, so it was so weird. And I said, I need to look. So you know how there's a peek hole on the doors? So I was just looking through it. But because it's fisheye, you can't really see what's going on, because the person wasn't standing. They could just see the some legs. I didn't see fully the detail because of the fisheye effect. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna make sound. I need to wake them up. I mean, if it's a homeless, I'm gonna wake them up, see if they can move, or I need proof. I thought I need proof, because then I can complain to the guards like, hey, there was someone sleeping on our common area, what's going on? But again, the floor that I am, there's so many floors in this building. No way a homeless could just like, random floor, bloop. Like, you will think, okay, the first one's maybe, but not this floor. It didn't match. So I was like, who could it be? I made sound. I tried to move the door, like, tuck. Nothing. They were completely out. So this moment, I was like, I need to record it, but I can't record from the fisheye. There's no way you can. No, there's no way. And I decided I'm gonna open the door. I'm gonna open the door and see and record quickly, and then close the door. That was my idea, and I did that. Which, don't do that, please. Don't do that. Just stay in your houses. Like, if it's something, it's something. But I did that. I opened the door because I wanted proof, and then I saw that it was my neighbor in this cowboy outfit, like this crop top and blue cowboy boots, and they were completely passed out. I think they tried to open their door, they just passed out and fell into mine, or maybe they because I did hear the crawling, so I'm thinking maybe they couldn't even walk, so they thought they arrived to their door, but it was actually my door. So yes, I was just like, amazing. And I just closed the door, locked everything, turned off lights, back to sleep. In the morning they were gone, and it has never happened again. How scary that thing was for me as living alone for the first fully like grown-up style. It was crazy. Feel like you're the only one responsible of your space, and if something happens, you're the one who has to think about. Even if I was the same back in the other apartment with my roommates in the other place, like I was the one in charge of that, or like thinking, oh, maybe I'm gonna call someone or blah blah blah, it still felt like the responsibility was on the three of us. Like, okay, something happened, like for example, if there was a blackout and then no lights, we would call each other and be like, hey, are you okay? Are you in the elevator? Are you downstairs? What happened? One of my friends, she told us that she got stuck in the laundry one time, and it's so good sometimes when you have roommates or someone to live with you, because if anything happens, you can share that and they can help. But also there's a lot of cool stuff of living alone. So yes, I love both experiences. I'm not sure which one would I prefer. If my friends were living in the same building, I would be so happy. It would be perfect. I don't know, like that has always been my dream. Like, oh, I'm living in the same building all my friends are. So if anyone wants to hang out or eat or anything, you just like knock, let's go. But yeah, you know, it's not that bad. No, let me know, what was your feeling of living alone for the first time? Of like just not being with your family anymore. It's been different for everyone. Like I have friends who told me like, oh, I've been living alone since I'm 19, 18. It has been such an eye-open situation. And I really love the experiences here. I appreciate everything, and how now I feel like, you know, this is my home. I can make it my home. For example, let's say this is a feeling that a lot of us have when you are in a different country, or even just as in a different city. You don't believe it's your place, so you wouldn't decorate and you wouldn't do things that you will be like, why not? Like, I'm living here for years. Yes, we don't know what the future will bring, but why is that stopping you from making your place yours, like beautiful and pretty and decorated as you want? So for a long time, a lot of my friends and me, we don't do that. Like, you will just go to an apartment and be like, well, this is where I'm living now, and as it is, it is. You know what I learned recently with this apartment also, like I could make it more my own, make decisions that wouldn't have to be like, oh, you know, you have to ask permission to your roommate. What do they feel? Maybe they don't like the same. So that's really good when you have your own place, because it's you who is in charge of all that decisions. And also the cleaning, the arrangement, everything is as you want. Whether when you're a roommate, well, you know, sure, you have to make sure that the common areas are always good. The same standard is not the same for everyone, you see. I don't know what the future will bring. Hopefully more interesting stories. Oh, I have this other story. I don't know if I should say it. Should I say it? Okay, I'm gonna say it. One night, again, nighttime, I was about to get to bed and everything. I think it was around 2 a.m. Again, it happens in these times because that's the time where I got to sleep usually. So it was 2 a.m. and I had somewhere to go in the morning. So if I remember correctly, I was going to the Olympic Games of last year. I turned off everything, but I told myself I need to charge my battery, you know, the phone battery, because back then my phone, the battery was so bad, like it only lasted like half an hour or an hour. It was an old phone, so it lasted very, very little, and I always had to carry my battery, my phone battery, so I could charge it whenever I wanted. And then I connected to one of the plugs, but the plug, so I had to use a converter adapter. So it had an adapter, so it had the American thingy, and then you had to connect it to the European adapter and then just connect it. Mind you, I have used this battery and cable and this situation since I arrived, like 2019. So when I connected it, I wasn't expecting nothing to happen. But anyway, I did it. I was about to go to bed. As soon as I get into bed, I hear poof, and then smoke, and then all the lights off, and then I smell like fire, and I started panicking. I was like, oh my god, it's gonna set on fire, and I run and I unplug it quickly. It's completely black, so it obviously exploded in a way. There was a little bit of smoke, or I don't know if it was smoke, it was dark, but the smell was there. So and the battery was completely like turned on the lights, nothing worked. I went outside and everything worked. It was just my apartment, and I started panicking, and I was like, I just ruined it. I ruined it, because in here then you have to call the electricity, and it's a whole show. And I was like, oh my god, my landlord is gonna charge me so much. They are gonna charge me so much. What did I do? I started crying. I didn't know what to do. I called my mom, and she was like, oh, go to the Guardian. Maybe the Guardian could help you if they know something. So I sent a message to my landlord, and he was on vacations on Vietnam. So I didn't know what time it was there, but I hoped it wasn't nighttime so he could answer me. But anyway, he didn't answer right away. So then I called my mom, and then she said, go to the Guardian, tell him. I run to the Guardian. So it's this is 2:30 a.m., 3 a.m. And you know that the Guardian office is closed, so you can't enter, but it's open, like he's there. But he has a desk, like an office desk, and he's behind it. And I could see he was there, like watching his computer. And I was like so panicky that I didn't even notice what's going on. So I was just like banging on the door, like, hey, please help. And then I see him like look up at me, and then he's like annoyed but also surprised, and I just keep saying like, hey, please. So he stands up, but then I see him so he had his pants down, so he had to like put them up. I didn't see this was behind the office, so he put his pants up and he was just like closing. This I saw when he was like just closing it. I was like, oh my god, I caught the guard during a moment. It was so embarrassing, but I didn't care. In that moment, I was just like, I don't care what you're doing. Just help me. So he didn't go out, like he was just on the window and he was telling me like what's going on. And I showed him the pictures, and then he said, there's a box in your apartment near the corridor that should be the electricity situation. So just put it up. It should help. Of a break room, I think it's the electricity. I don't know about these things, guys. And I was so overwhelmed by the situation, so I just okay. I understood what he said. I went up, I found the box, and then I saw that one of the brakes was down, and I was like, must be this one. So I just put it up, and then I tried to open everything, turn on everything. It didn't work. It was still all dark. And here I was just like well, that's it, you know, I'm gonna get charged so much. And this was, I think, my first month living here. It was so overwhelming. It was just too much. I'm a baby. I wasn't used to this, you know, like being full responsible. I don't know. My mom said, don't worry, try to sleep. Tell your friend you're not going tomorrow because you have to take care of this. And I was crying in my bed, just like disconnecting the fridge, trying to, like, I was like, my food, everything is gonna go bad. My landlord called. Well, he didn't call, but he sent a message, and he was like, what's going on? I explained it, and then he said, did you put the brake up? And I said, yes, it's not working. I'm so stressed. Does this mean I have to call the electrician? Is he gonna charge me a lot? I'm so sorry. This had never happened with my adapter before. And then he was like, no, you are not calling an electrician. You can do it. We can do this. Go back to that brake box. And I was like, okay. So I go back to the brake box, and he was like explaining me what to do. So it was like, basically I had to reset the box. So there's like this circle that you had to like turn on all the way to one side, then turn it all the way up, put down the brakes, put them up, and then it worked. And I was like, thank you so much. I was crying. I was happy. I didn't have to cancel anything. Yes. I mean, guys, crazy. These things happening to me, like, on the first months of living here was quite a thing. Do you have interesting stories of living alone? How did you manage? I hope it had happy endings. Like, so far, everything has been so happy, and I can learn from everything that's going on. Honestly, throughout that adapter, and my battery, had to buy a new one, but you know, all good. I want to hear your stories, or I don't know, like, I hope this is helping someone who also is going through living alone and they think they're having a bad time. We're all gonna have bad times or hard moments while living on our own apartments, and we have to deal with them. Like, one of my friends told us, like, she was living on her apartment, and then she starts hearing like, she's like, huh? And then she turns into the kitchen and she sees a mouse, and she was like, no, please God, no, because you don't want to kill them, but you don't know what to do. You're just like running around, and the mouse is running around. So she ran outside of her apartment, and she was like crying. Well, not crying, but just like, you know, stressed. And then the neighbor was like, what's going on? And she's like, there's a rat. I don't know if it was a baby rat or a mouse, but I hope it's a mouse. A baby rat would be even more stressful. Poor rats, but you know, stressful. I don't want them in my room. It was in her kitchen, so the neighbor was helping her, and they were trying to shush it away with the broom or something. In the end, I think the little mouse ran, or like the little rat ran outside, and that way she felt much better. But these situations, you never know what you're gonna find when you move into something on your own. I'm gonna show you now some videos, again as usual, from my days here, things that have happened recently. So much for clicking into this story time and chat video, and see you until the next one. ¡A viento!